Hello everyone, today we are running a very unique deck, and I know a lot of you probably have not seen this one. Versions of this have floated around for a while, and sometimes it's very impactful, sometimes it's not that great. It does use several underutilized cards, and it does so to great effect. So right now we are in a heavy destroy meta. X23 coming out tomorrow. I think we will be in a very heavy destroy meta. And so we're going to be running the armor and the Cosmo package, great at shutting down that extra energy that the opponent is going to be looking to get from destroying the X23 multiple times. We also have the Professor X to completely lock in a location, which is great to do an Atuma into a Professor X play, or if you have armor on the board, Atuma is safe and you can play it behind the armor, and you just get a lot of flexible ways to put very high power onto the board very consistently, while still having those key counterplays to make sure that your opponent can't get anything that is incredibly high roll. And so we're going to be jumping into a couple of games. Overall, the deck runs phenomenally. This is one of my favorite decks to kind of go in and out depending on what kind of meta we're facing. This is one of my favorite go-tos, and it's fairly accessible for the most part. Zabu really helps kind of solidify and bring it home, getting an early Sentry into a Viper. That is going to be like your very backup line, but sometimes you will be able to do the Sentry into Viper for that void, sending over that -10 power to your opponent. Other times you're just looking to clear it with something like Carnage, which is also phenomenal, or you can lock in the right location before dropping your Sentry. You can play Sentry behind Cosmo, and you just get so much raw power so often that it's really hard for the opponent to keep up, especially if they're running like a combo heavy deck or something that relies on their own reveals. You can shut them down quite efficiently. We're going to be jumping over into a couple of games. We are almost at that 38,000 mark. I think by the end of today we can get there. Thank you guys for that continued support. I hope that you guys are enjoying the content. I'm enjoying bringing it to you, and I love seeing our community grow. I love having you guys here. So we're going to be jumping into a couple of games. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. It's right lane, so they're going to get an extra they're going to get an extra 2 on us. But we're going to get an extra 3 here, so after Stark Tower comes down, we can make sure that we still win this location, unless they have a way to buff the lane after the fact. So I think the Professor X here is the play. They are planning on getting the Stark Tower bonus so Captain Marvel can move as she needs to, but that is not going to be the play. We have the Doc Ock that comes down. The Destroyer triggers first, which in line is beautiful. We have the left lane protected. We have the right lane protected. The Shang-Chi then comes down after the fact, and so we are protected a little bit more there as well. And then our nice and comfy rock from the rock slide comes down. They don't have any additional space in the right lane for playing a Jeff. They could do a Shang-Chi here, but then we have a Tuma now that is protected in the left lane. This line fell out and just worked out beautifully. I do hope that they stay, even with the Shang-Chi. I'm hoping they have like a Shang-Chi and a Hawk, and they hope that they can beat us in the left lane. No, they do take the retreat. The Doc Ock play is always one that I can almost never get behind a Doc Ock play, because there are so many cards that it could be pulling. If your opponent's running a very specific combo package, sometimes it's going to be worthwhile. Most of the time, it's going to backfire, especially if you're running against someone that runs kind of a mid-range counter, potentially heavy deck, like the one that we're running. So Atuma into Shuri's Lab into a Professor X could be a decent call. And then we get Stark Tower that was over here, and it shifts over to the left. I don't know how many times a day I see that happen. It's awfully convenient. I'm going to go ahead and play Carnage to the left just to get some value over there. Spider Ham hits our Destroyer, and that is perfectly fine. We no longer have to worry about making sure all of the lanes are protected. Let's go ahead and snap in on it. I think we're perfectly fine. Doing all of the stuff in deep space is also phenomenal. And we take them down one more slice, one more sliver. We start with our Professor X again. We start with Destroyer. Double Zabu helps with our Atuma, our Sentry. I don't know if we want to go double or not, though. I mean, it's not the worst thing. Trying to get a double Professor X lock early. Central Park is crazy. Now instead of Zabu, I almost want to go Viper. Just take up their entire board. I think we have gotten under Hot Tub Tony's skin. He's playing it very cautiously now, trying to find like a chip in the armor, and we will take it. I'm wondering if they're also running like a Galactus. The Doc Ock is super strange here. So Hell's Kitchen is good. We draw a card, they draw a card, so we know they probably have Ghost Spider. But with the Doc Ock and Ghost Spider, I'm thinking maybe Galactus, or maybe they're just trying to Doc Ock and then pull Doc Ock away from that lane. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and do Hood. We'll do Viper in that left lane as well. So we know that it's probably Ghost Spider. They didn't play it on the one cost that they drew from Hell's Kitchen. Death's Domain, I think, is honestly fine. We could do armor there, but I almost want to just try to sneak in a Professor X to steal that one away. Let's go ahead and snap on them. We're going to continue to put the pressure. That seems to be where they're chipping, is whenever we do snap, they're not liking the look of their hand, and then they're retreating. So we're going to continue to do that, chip away at them bit by bit. All right, and so now it is 2 bars of health. We have the Hood, we have the Viper again, we have Carnage in case we want to do Sentry and then clear it up in the right lane. Let's go ahead and snap on them. I don't know if they're happy with their hand yet or not, but we are going to snap on them. Make them decide. Go down to 1 bar of health or push potentially all in here. And we definitely don't have the perfect hand. We don't have a bad one, though. Sending the Hood over their way is good. Jotunheim is decent. And we do get the Sentry. So we can always do Sentry into a Carnage later to clear that lane up. Or they could potentially do a Spider Ham, which right now, if they are doing Spider Ham, super unfortunate, because we have so many cards that just benefit from getting the ability removed. Dream Dimension is a little bit tough, but we have both Atuma and Sentry, so we can do 1-on-4, 1-on-5. We can also do a Zabu now. I'm going to do both into the left lane. That allows us to do something like Sentry into a Carnage. And the Sentry and Atuma are both going to be a little bit cheaper. So if we eventually get armor, if we get Professor X, maybe we can leverage an Atuma into a Professor X lock. So they pulled Rogue from somewhere, from the Great Beyond, from somewhere they pulled Rogue. Wild pull. I'm going to go ahead and do Sentry in the left lane. That will be within Shang-Chi range, which is a little bit scary. But that's going to give us the ability to do Carnage and then Nebula in Dream Dimension, and then we can lock in a Jotunheim lane with just Atuma. It's not perfect, but we do have a pretty significant advantage in the left lane unless they get a Shang-Chi. We're looking out for maybe a Doc Ock on 5. I think we're okay with a Doc Ock on 5. We're going to have most of our hand taken care of. They do finish off and cap out the left lane. What do they end up going with? Okay, Jeff in Dream Dimension. Hawk in the left lane is fine. No matter how many rocks they put in, our Sentry is going to overpower their Hawk. If they now do, I guess they can't do a Doc Ock because of Dream Dimension. If they do Doc Ock on 6, we have the Shang-Chi primed and ready, just waiting to feast. Let's go Carnage into a Nebula. That's not going to be great, but right now I think they are under the assumption that they have Dream Dimension 1, and so by clearing it up and then getting the Nebula there, we get a little bit of extra advantage, and then I think Atuma is going to bring us the rest of the way home. In a destroy heavy meta, or a combo-driven heavy meta, this is really quickly becoming one of my favorite decks to run. It has a lot of the control aspects that I like. It has the Professor X, which I know some people love Professor X, some people hate it. I think it is a necessary evil, and it does quite a bit of controlling. The rest of the cards synergize incredibly well. So they do play in the right lane. They do Ghost Spider to clear up that left lane. So now we are potentially worried about a Shang-Chi again in the Sentry in that left lane. The Hawk in the right lane is very scary. Shang-Chi plus Rock Slide. We have initiative, so even if they do Rock Slide, we won't be able to overpower the Hawk. Can they overpower us in the left lane? I'm going to go this and hope that they don't overcome us here. The Shang-Chi, I guess the Shang-Chi, would that do it? We'd still be 8. Shang-Chi's not going to do it for them in the left lane. So we're going to assume the left lane is a win. The right lane is what we're going to be pushing for to try and find our second lane win. We could actually, honestly, maybe do this instead. Instead of trying to overpower the Hawk, I think we go in mid. That's what we're going to do instead. Hope that they can't win the left lane. Hope that they can't win mid. They do reinforce the right lane. Shang-Chi, not going to be enough unless they can buff it up a little bit further, right? Yeah, my calculations are right. I think we would have probably been okay in the right lane as well, but we do hold down the win versus Hot Tub Tony. Always a pleasure, my friend. Let's go ahead and jump out and jump into the next one. All right, next up we have green. The first location is Monster Island. Similar to last time, especially with Sentry in hand, I don't want to do Nebula into the far left lane. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into the far, I don't want to put it into the right lane. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into the left lane. Mindscape is okay. We can do Zabu. That allows us to do Sentry next turn into a Carnage plus Armor on turn number 4, which is already pumping quite a bit of power. So we are going to go ahead and skip, or we are going to go ahead and snap. Oh my goodness, words are tough today, you guys. Are you excited about X23? I'm excited about X23. I'm going to be covering it tonight. I know I skipped Lady Deathstrike. That's not because I didn't stay up and try to brew with it. It just nothing was happening. Like I brewed and brewed and brewed, and everything felt mediocre and mid. Let's go ahead and go with Sentry now. But that puts that susceptible to Shang-Chi, right? Maybe we armor this lane, Carnage this lane into a Shang-Chi in the left. I don't know. We are going to be able to get through most of our cards, or the majority of our cards, courtesy of the Zabu, before Mindscape comes down. They have a Mr. Fantastic that they hit with Forge. What in the world kind of cook are they cooking? Let's go with the Carnage. Let's go armor in the left lane. We are then going to send a Cosmo into Mindscape, and we're just going to send them a Shang-Chi in return. I think we're in a very good spot here, especially with the protection in the left lane, protection in mid. We are going to clear up the right lane. Everything is looking fine and dandy. What do they get from the Iron Lad, though? It only got +2. Wolfsbane? That has to be a Wolfsbane, right? Super strange deck. Maybe it's a Mr. Negative? I don't know what kind of deck this could be. It's an on reveal somewhat. Huh. Okay. What if we go Professor X in the right lane instead? We can go Cosmo. That protects this lane, but then these are both kind of mediocre. It does put the power back in their hands. We need to protect mid, if anything else. So let's go Cosmo here. And then we'll see. They'll have Shang-Chi and Professor X. Not great resources, you guys. So they do play in the right lane. Cosmo's going to protect us here from the Shang-Chi. They have Sarah, so they'll be able to do a big, massive... No, they can't even do a Professor X and Shang-Chi. And so the Cosmo comes down. They give us Silver Surfer of all things. Let's go. What if we did... I mean, we're winning already, right? What if we did this number? Super strange looking finisher. We have a pretty good lead over here. A pretty good lead here. Not a good lead, but we have a lead here. I almost want to do this. We'll send it. Okay, we do get the retreat after we give them just Bubkiss from Mindscape. All right, so we now have our Viper and Carnage. Let's go ahead and do Nebula into mid. We're not going to put it into the right lane. We want to save that space for a potential Sentry push over into their direction. Now, the Onslaught Citadel is kind of scary. It's actually very scary for us. With a doubled Sarah, a double Mr. Fantastic, they have some super strange cards. It is a Silver Surfer build, so maybe a Wong as well. I could be Wong, but I'm thinking that could be in their arsenal. A Silver Surfer buff deck is what... Oh, wow. District X is something. It is something for sure. We can go Mystique to copy another copy of Armor. Or we can just do something like Viper. Actually, you know what? Let's push for the left lane now. Let's do Viper in the left lane. Maybe we get something we can use in the left lane next turn. Ooh, they had the Mr. Fantastic. Unfortunate. So they get +4 on both the left and right. So we can Carnage. I guess it's better than not Carnaging. We get 1 extra power from destroying here. And then we can try to push a Professor X, but I doubt that that's going to be our play. I think we retreat. This District X did not do us well. It did not treat us well at all. With the Brood as well, if they have Patriot teched in too, could be an interesting take, like a buff Silver Surfer Patriot build. I don't know. Let's go ahead and try and lock in the Professor X lane, and then maybe we can get the lead or the advantage with just like a leader into Onslaught Citadel. Could potentially be the line. If they have an Onslaught, then no, we can't. But okay, double drop. Absorbing Man. Let's go ahead and see what their next card is, and then we're going to tactically Tactfully retreat. Oh, okay, I was going to try and tactfully retreat before Professor X showed up, but it's fine. They can know we have Professor X. I think they already did. But they had the Angel from District X. Let's go ahead and jump out of that one. It's 1 cube loss. They should have having what they had, the Brood, the Mr. Sinister, the Absorbing Man. They probably should have snapped into it, being 1000% honest. So Nebula over here is not terrible. They don't have a lot of high power cards. I almost want to go Nebula in the left lane. So far, the highest raw power card we've seen is Iron Lad at 6. Even with Forge, that would go up to 9. And so they'd actually have to put quite a bit of resource commitment to winning the Space Throne. Ooh, we lose our Professor X, they lose their Forge. Okay. So it's a little give and take. A little bit of give and take. Let's go Armor in Sokovia. If we get Sentry, beautiful. We can throw Sentry, we have the Carnage to clear it up. We're going to have Hood over there. We may go ahead and do the Carnage as well. We'll just see. We'll see how it pans out. Ooh, we do get Sentry. So now instead of going ahead and doing the Carnage, we're going to do just Hood. Next turn, we'll do just Sentry, and then we'll do just Carnage. Unless we get Viper, then we'll do Viper and Carnage on 5, and that is going to be a beautiful play. Wow, Brood. So probably not the Viper line. Definitely probably not the Viper line. We can go Cosmo into Sokovia on the last turn to block them there. I think that's going to be such a beautiful play. Beautiful enough that we'll snap into it. We have the Sentry protected in Sokovia. I think we are A-okay. Unless they have a Cosmo, which would be just so rough. But we should have initiative, so I don't think it would matter. The Absorbing Man. The Brood into Absorbing Man. I ran a buff Silver Surfer deck, and I feel like I never had Brood into Absorbing Man. Such a solid line. They always play over here, right? You know what? We don't care. We're gonna clear it regardless. We're gonna try the Viper. I doubt it goes through, but if not, we have the backup plan of the Carnage. It would be nice if it caps them out. Probably not, though. And they do have initiative here. Oof. Because of their 15 power in their little Brood army. Oh, no. I think we probably can't stop their Cosmo, right? That is a brutal Sokovia lane. Do they also have Killmonger teched in? If they have Cosmo... No. Silver Surfer already. Strange commitment, Mr. Green. Strange commitment. The 9-power Nebula. They do have Shang-Chi, though. Ah, they have Shang-Chi. That's what it is, right? So with their initiative, we can win this lane. We never win this right lane. This goes up to 14, so it pushes a potential tie, but we lose the tiebreaker. Ah, man, Mr. Green. How rude. The Silver Surfer lets them set up into a Shang-Chi and not care on what they play for the final. So Shang-Chi plus like a 2 cost. But let's think about it. If they Shang-Chi and they do what, a Mr. Sinister in mid, that brings them up to 21. We go up to 23. We win mid by 2. They win left by 3. Even with the tie in the right lane. That's always their play, right? It's never a Wolfsbane in something. I almost want to see this one play out. I know that this puts us at a huge... No. I tried to talk myself into it. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. We may have had a chance there. That's the scary thing. We may have had a chance. My gut was telling me that their Shang-Chi was coming down in the left lane. And that if they would have had to have the Mr. Sinister as well here. Otherwise, we could have won the tiebreaker. I don't know. Something was telling me not to stay there. I will always wonder, though, if they had it or not. And had we flipped the order of the Carnage and Viper, knowing that they would cap out that lane, we would have had 1 extra power in the right lane. Could have been enough to do it, but it was also it would have also been very, very scary to do. Throne Room, I think, should be ours, hands down, no questions asked. Let's go Armor in the left lane. We have a Tuma for the Throne Room on 4 into a Professor X on 5. to make sure that that is locked in place. Shang-Chi is not going to be our deciding factor in this game for them, but we'll see if maybe... Ooh, Cosmo is also a decent one. Let's go ahead and Cosmo in the left lane. Cosmo in the left lane, Atuma mid. As long as we have initiative, then the Professor X lock is going to be completely unbothered by anything that green does here. The Cosmo in the left lane will stop their Wolfsbane. It'll stop their Brood. It'll stop their Mr. Sinister. All of those strong plays that they really lean on will be stopped. From playing the Mr. Negative deck over the weekend, that was one of the worst things for me, was a Cosmo when I didn't have priority. Whenever the opponent could drop it and just block me out of an entire location almost. So they go right lane. They do pivot with the Iron Lad. They could get an Absorbing Man. What do they end up pulling here? Forge. Okay, so Forge could be kind of scary. We have initiative. We're going to lock this one in. We're going to make sure that this is protected. And then Destroyer in the left lane on 6, I think is enough to win it for us every single time here. I'm still so curious what they had and if we could have won that previous round. So very curious. So we have this lane locked in handily. A lot of their deck does propel on reveals. And so with the Cosmo, I think that's going to be so detrimental for them. Let's go ahead and do Destroyer, and then we'll do Nebula. I don't think there's going to be a way that they can get enough here without having strong on reveals. So they probably retreat here. Would be probably wise if they did. They can't hit us with a Shang-Chi. They can't hit us with any kind of big countermeasure. And we are going to be doing a back and forth dance here with Mr. Green. We do go into the high stakes now. It's relatively even because we lost that 4-cuber. We went with our gut and we retreated. Zabu's nice here. Cosmo is decent. We don't have an early initiative grabber though, unfortunately, which would help us place our Cosmo more efficiently. Deep Space is great for things like, I don't know, Sentry, Atuma, Destroyer. All fantastic in Deep Space. Let's do Zabu into Lemuria. Lemuria? I've been calling it okay. Whoa! Mr. Sinister in Deep Space? Green, have you lost your mind? I was with you all the way up until just now. That is so brutal. Like, what? What? And we get Sentry for Deep Space. Fantastic. No Shang-Chi to counterplay to worry about. Nothing in the slightest to worry us there. So we're going to go ahead and snap back on him. Cosmo in the left lane will... We won the 50-50 coin flip, so we're going to block any on reveals in Lemuria. On reveals are blocked in Deep Space. And so them using a Brood, Absorbing Man, any of their big on reveals are just going to be unimpactful. So Brood over here is fine. They can have Mindscape. We're not even going to compete for it. That is all yours, my friend. Sentry in Deep Space is going to be massive. We could potentially try to set up a Professor X in Lemuria on 5. I don't know if that's our play or not, though. If they had a Legion that we haven't seen and they all of a sudden switch everything to Mindscape and they can Shang-Chi our Sentry, that'd be wild. At which case, they deserve the win. Iron Lad into Deep Space, trying to compete for that location. We know that we have some low power things that we're sending their way. Is it ever worthwhile to do a Professor X and just lock them out of Lemuria? What can they do at best? With Cosmo lane, we're looking at Sarah. At best, they'll be able to get another 6 power in Deep Space. Again, at best. And so depending on what they send us, it really might depend on what we top deck, right? We're going to do it. We're going to lock them into Lemuria. I don't think they can go over 8 here. The Sarah will give them some reach. Hopefully it's not enough. Hopefully they get send us a decent raw power card. Hopefully we draw Destroyer here would be massive. Atuma, Carnage is not unfortunately what we're looking for. 5's not bad here. It's not great either though. 5's not bad, but not great. They had Spider Ham this whole time? Interesting. Do we win with this? I don't know. It's the best we've got. It is worth the 1 additional. There's no way I'm going to retreat here for one remaining. Unless they drew something of good raw value, which I don't think they did. I think this outpowers them in deep space. We outpowered them in Lemuria. Let's go. We are now ahead of Mr. Green just like that. All right. So every round now is the potential last round. Let's go Hood. We're going to send them a little bit of junk because we can. We don't even have to Viper that one. So that's a beautiful start. We have the Zabu, another beautiful start. We have Cosmo or the Destroyer. Camartage is kind of scary. So I'm actually thinking we, instead of Zabu, I'm thinking we do Demon. We need to grab initiative back from... Actually, if they can do an on reveal, they can do it this turn. But I really think we probably need to grab initiative to get a Cosmo down as soon as humanly possible. I'm going to do Zabu. It's better raw power. The Destroyer, the Spider Ham hitting Destroyer. That's one of my favorite things with this deck. If you're seeing a lot of Spider Ham, your opponent is going to be so disappointed every single time they drop the ham. We're going to go ahead and do Cosmo into Camartage. If they have a Forge, a Wolfsbane, anything that has that on reveal trigger, it's going to be unfortunate here. But after this turn, we're going to be very secure in this lane because they rely very heavily. They do have the Forge. They rely very heavily on reveals. And so we have the 6 cost, 15 power Destroyer, which is such... and we don't even have the restriction of how or where we need to play it or drop it. I almost think we do something like this. Let's go Nebula in mid. We're going to put some power in the left lane. We want to get a decent power output on both the left and right, or left and mid, so that we can focus our Pig Destroyer, our 15 power ham. That is a huge brood. My goodness, 21 power is so massive. We can do a Tuma. Silver Surfer is going to bring it up 246 to a max of 27 power, which we can beat. But it becomes a question of, do we beat them here if we do that? I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. Let's go Carnage as well. That's an extra 2. It's not huge. It's not great. We probably lose this one. If we would have been able to get the Cosmo down before the Forge, so had we went with the Demon route, we could have stopped that Forge from happening. This would be much more manageable, but unfortunately we did not. We did not learn our lesson. Everything's unfortunate. I'm going to go Pig in the left lane to make sure we win that one. It all comes down to if... I don't know. All they have to do is play anything into Camartage. If they do like just Silver Surfer in the right lane, maybe by some grace we win. Probably not, though. Yeah. So... Oh, no. They buff up their Mr. Fantastic by 1. So they win mid by just 1. I was so ecstatic for a split second, thinking we beat them after the Mr. Sinister came down, but it is fine. And so all those little small, intricate decisions throughout the course of the game can lead to something very big, very impactful. Cosmo in Asteroid M is going to be fine. Nothing is going to reveal this turn, so it doesn't matter what we drop. Let's do Zabu. Let's do Zabu here. We know that they don't really have anything that's going to be above Shang-Chi range, so Shang-Chi is just a wasted tech slot in this matchup. They didn't have a 2 cost. Oh no, we can't block the Camartage. You guys, this is our downward descent. There's nothing we can do over there. There's nothing we can do short of like locking it with Professor X. Otherwise, we can't play. We can't block Camartage. Oof, that's rough. It is what it is, though. Okay, Brood into Lemuria is big. It's scary. They move their Brood over into Asteroid M. So they get a good spread. We have Cosmo coming down now. We're looking for... we have a hope and a prayer, but it's a very small hope and a very small prayer. It's not good. It is not looking good, fellas. Maybe a 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 chance we draw into Professor X here. Oh, the Absorbing Man. They always have Brood into Absorbing Man. I want to just retreat now and go into our last final battle with Mr. Green. Look at this board. They played 2 cards and it's looking so stacked. Nothing we can do. All right, the double hood doesn't do us any good. There's no additional risk for staying, but there's absolutely no reason for us to stay either. Nothing in our hand would allow us to win this match. Ah. All right, Camartage, don't pop up on the board, please. Deep space? We'll take deep space any day. We'll take the location where on reveals don't happen. I think it's nowhere. Let's go ahead and do Nebula into mid. Shuri's Lab, we are going to be focusing on dropping Cosmo somewhere. I don't know that it has to. Oh no. Rickety Bridge. I don't know what we wanted to see there. But it was not Rickety Bridge. Yeah. Is this a Forge? Yeah. Forge on 2 is beautiful. And then Brood on 3 and Absorbing Mana on 4. I can't even with you. Okay, we lose our Atuma. They lose their Mr. Fantastic, which is, you know, honestly not that fantastic. Cosmo in the left lane, I'm going to hope to block their big Brood or their buffed up Forge card like a Mr. Sinister. Brood is like our biggest concerns here. They play nothing on 3. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So they are going to play... They would play their spread card in Sokovia. Actually... Does it matter most of the time? They could have a really big lane here. We block their own reveals. This lane is kind of a wash. So I think next turn we play into Rickety Bridge regardless of what they play, or regardless of what we draw. And then that allows us to get a 30 power destroyer. We make sure Rickety Bridge is offset at the end of the game, and I don't know that they can outpower us there. So I almost want to do Zabu. It doesn't matter where we do Zabu, right? No matter what we draw, we are playing something in Rickety Bridge next turn. We're hoping that they don't have the same idea, though. If they play in Rickety Bridge this turn, we're in trouble. But they do not. And so, Brood, Mr. Sinister. Okay, not great for skipping most of the game green. Do they play into Rickety Bridge this turn? And if they do, they could potentially play there next turn as well. I think the Shang-Chi is our safe bet. I almost want to go Professor X, but this at least forces them to, if they played there this turn, we're safe. If not, they have to play there to clear the Shang-Chi. And then we can double power our destroyer. They play in Shuri's Lab. We are perfectly fine here. Sarah comes down. They will be able to do a big spread, but no one reveals will trigger here. We're going to have the massive 30 power in this left lane. They have to do something to respect the Rickety Bridge location to clear that one, so then it comes down to a point different. Oh, wait. No, they discarded their Mr. Fantastic, right? That would be the only thing that could get us here, would be Mr. Fantastic, and they discarded it from Sokovia at the beginning of the game. Mr. Green, it has been an absolute pleasure. This has been a back and forth, grueling match where both of us played pretty reserved, pretty conservative for the most part. You had some good luck. I had some good luck. One of the better matches I've had in a very long time. They do play into mid. They play 2 cards into the right lane. The Spider Ham, doesn't matter what it hits. It's going to be a massive, like 34, 36 power differential in the left lane. And so they're going to have to potentially match that, and they don't quite get there. They do try their very, very best, but they don't quite get there in the end. We will take the win where we can. Beautiful match, Green. Win or lose there, I was going to be happy of the outcome regardless. Thank you for the incredible match. We're going to go ahead and end the video there. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.